And not a lot of people can restart them.
True. Why would you do
Remains
that?
Her presentation of power was rather considerable, and it was to the effect of she didn't even care about disguising it.
It was a clear show, trying to show off how powerful she was.
Yeah, we wouldn't be able to deal with her if it came to that.
Not by direct means, no.
If she wanted, she could probably obliterate the entire town.
Indirectly, surely. At this moment, all she would have to do would be nothing.
Well,
yes.
These undead hunters would know that, say if that ghast actually got out from there, that ghast could easily start a ghoul infestation that could basically turn the entire town into a bunch of ravening ghouls.
Yeah.
In a very short amount of time, scarily.
Yeah, that might have been the plan once the war actually started. Create mass confusion and panic.
Attacked from the north and from the south?
Yes, and then the Druids would come in and destroy the rest of them, and then the war would start.
The Lich King gains a win. The Druids, well, a Druid thinks he's done something, and the Empire responds back. I need a drink. Is Bjorny here?
Certainly get your drink, yes.
What does he think about all this?
Well, if you pull Bjorny aside and talk to him and explain the situation, he admits that there is very good reason why the entire town of Foghaven both respects and fears the first citizen of Foghaven. She has endured, well, more than anyone can really recall. Like, it's basically like urban legend by this point, what she's done over the course of the past 2 centuries here. Like, she used to own all of the land within this region. And through a combination of, like, mercantilism, people buying it, and then her personal philanthropy, it was donated. Like, this township, Foghaven, was built on Melchor land. And although she is not lead senator, there is not a person that, to a man, to a woman, people respect and fear here more than Ursilia Melchor. And the fact that she has continued to survive is a point of pride, and it's a point of terror. As I've noted, like, there are instances of humans living into 2 and 3 centuries. The Archmage is human, and he's a few centuries old. The Emperors can go for that long, but that is a case of incredibly powerful magic which fuels the life of that person.
Different question. Would Bjorny think that Camilla is safe in prison?
Bjorny will say, I don't think anyone would be foolish enough to attempt to attack Carmilla. Not even while she is imprisoned. If the Senate is hoping to achieve some effect by keeping her jailed, with the hope of putting her on trial, then I don't see how they would gain by attacking her. Even if they killed her, they might make a martyr out of her.
Yes, that wouldn't be the prudent plan.
The safest place, well, the worst case place that I can think of for her is actually to be there in that cell, rotting.
So what do we do then? We need to get her out of there.
I'm not even sure she would agree and allow you to break her out even if you wanted to break her out of jail.
It would make matters worse and nothing else.
Yes.
All they have, however, is 4 witnesses, isn't it?
4 incredibly credible witnesses, apparently.
We're incredibly
I doubt
scared.
that.
And so are all the judges.
The might not even have witnesses. They might just say they have witnesses.
If Miss Melchor decides that she should be guilty, she will likely be found guilty, it seems.
See, from my understanding, I think the last time a senator was put on trial was 37 years ago, long before I came here to Foghaven. My understanding of the law code here in this town is that in order for a senator to be tried, the other senators must agree on that trial, and all of the senators serve as their judges.
Yes.
So if just one disagreed.
We need to get one of them on our side then.
Good luck versus...
Not likely.
the Melchors.
Wouldn't that person just suffer the exact same fate?
Now, I'm not sure of the exact legalese. You would probably want to maybe try and look up the nuances. They're probably buried somewhere within the town hall records themselves, if you cared enough to do all of that research. Or I imagine I could probably direct you towards... There's a lawyer or two living within the town of Foghaven who people pay for trials. I can direct you to them in the morning if you so wish.
Well, what were you exactly gaining from freeing her?
Not much.
Well,
Even if she were found innocent, nothing would really change, would it?
well, she'll be returned to her duties, I guess.
Which is...
Being a senator.
Specifically, she is the head of the Senate, although they are all a democratically elected body through direct voting. She is the one who the people like the most, and so she ends up taking the lead. That is despite the fact that Ursilia Melchor has been on that Senate the longest.
200 years?
Not 200 years, the town hasn't been around that long, but she's been a part of the government since the city's founding.
Yeah, otherwise she will probably take the place, and I for one wouldn't want that.
Truth be told, Ursilia was actually the lead senator before Carmilla and I arrived here in Foghaven.
I gather she didn't really like losing her spot. I mean, who would?
It could be difficult to tell, probably, with a woman like that.
Yeah, I would think that she didn't really like that. Nobody does.
She didn't put up much of a fuss at the time. It was interpreted by the people that, well, Ursilia, she has to be close to death at one of these points, one of these years, and she has withdrawn, from my understanding, over the past decade or two from public and political activity. So, Carmilla Cabot, youthful, closer to the center, more active, instead of sending out a descendant of hers.
Either way, it seems like the Whispering Revengers are our only lead at the moment that might get us anywhere. Perhaps talking might not be the worst idea, although I despise the idea.
I think we need to do that. Although,
Have whiskey.
How will we even find him?
he did say he would be at the same place if the note is true.
It's either that or a trap, and do we actually have anything better to work on?
Either that or trying to get one of the senators on our side.
Once again, what will it achieve?
Not sentencing her to life imprisonment.
once again, what will that achieve as immediate effect within 1 week? Where's the trial even scheduled?
I have no fucking idea.
They don't. Yeah.
7 days from now.
She said that she would talk about letting us investigate tonight. So if
Yeah.
we wait until tomorrow, see if we get sent for, and if we don't, we should go to the Whispering Ravager. Basically gave us a taunting invitation. But
Yeah,
an
I don't
invitation
think she
nonetheless.
will even mention that to the council. She
We need to
probably
sleep
just said
anyway.
that to get us to leave. Yeah, perhaps you'd like another go. That seems like
Then
a
it's
hostile
fighting words.
invitation. Yep.
You did start the whole fighting business. You broke in.
And we did almost kill his girlfriend. So. I don't think he's that
I
happy
mean,
about
he
that.
did almost kill all of us, right? So
Sure, but I don't think he cares about that.
He did offer to hire you and pay you large sums of money if you just, like, go away.
yeah, but that would then have resulted in exactly this same. Because we don't want war to break out and the Lich King to escape the island and kill everybody.
Damn it! Why not?
The problem is...
Do you know how much Grimith likes his undead?
It sounds like an
Go
opportunity
there and
missed
he's like,
right there.
no, that's totally awesome. That's what I want to pay you to help with. We're like,
At least the majority of our party doesn't want it.
that's true.
Leon.
The Lich King is the last person I want to see right now.
Right now.
But you want to see him right now.
Maybe tomorrow.
He's last person! Last!
That's what I heard.
I'll see the High Druid first!
So, anyway, folks, if it wasn't already made clear, we have reached the end of the session. I shoehorned it within the 4.5 hour time limit that I wanted it to be. No Gryph, but I did make that battle that you faced there a bit easier because he was without it, and you folks got some favorable rolls there.
Sure did.
To counteract all of the fucking 20s the archers were getting.
Poor Thomas.
I so wish I
I
could.
think I paid in my ones on skill checks for him.
Yeah, you did
Whatever,
definitely
I
get
guess.
a number of those.
I got pretty decent skill checks early on as well.
I,
My first dice!
let's see, you 4 will get an incremental advance. Yeah, I will say that you 4 will also get a full heal up.
Woo!
Right.
And there was some other stuff I had in mind, but it just didn't fit out, and I wasn't about to force it in if I didn't think it fit.
Right.
And next session we'll pick up whenever you'd like with whatever you folks would like to do. You're welcome to continue to interact in character as you have been. I have no problems with that. Just wanted to inform you that I didn't have anything else planned for the session.
Yeah, I think we had the same idea.
Yeah.
You know, I think I need a few days to think about things.
I can't raise my defenses now, can I?
No, you can't raise your defenses. That's not an incremental advance you can take.
I would have liked that as an
You can get extra hit points.
I can get extra hit points, which I'm considering.
I'm taking the extra fucking hit points.
I'm
I need my hit points.
I'm considering the extra feat right now.
So you faced a number of mindless enemies who just chose to target the seemingly most
great.
convenient person, who ended up being Thomas instead of one of the squishy casters.
You did great, Thomas.
And I completely ignored all of my class features and just used all my recoveries. And that worked. I like it.
You made a use out of those resources. Well, Fargus was the only one to go through a few recoveries.
Yep.
And that was because he fucking took a super javelin from the Legionnaire.
I used one. One.
That's right, you did use one. So yes, now as I like to do every 4 sessions, this is a roundabout sort of thing for me. Before we break, and I let you Europeans go off to sleep, and I'm pretty tired because I woke up early so they get to work early so I could host this thing. I'd like to ask you folks a few questions.
My first question, and we will start in my convenient order that I have determined in my head since the beginning. First question is, over the past 4 sessions, what has been your most favorite part of the campaign thus far? And we'll begin with Dark.
Most favourite bit of the campaign?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, that is an interesting question. I have, because overall I have definitely enjoyed it quite a bit. Not getting the relationship dice has kind of been a little bit depressing, but you know.
You did trigger today.
Today, yes. It is the first. It's noted in my notes. A very important message at the top, an extra large font. But overall, I'm not entirely sure what to say. What my favorite part is. I've definitely been enjoying combat quite a bit. Because it feels a lot different to a lot of other ways combat's done. Possibly because like the nearby, far away system actually is quite different from how a lot of ways do it. Though the story as a whole, I've also enjoyed quite a bit. All the various characters, and you know, I can see a lot of people. You know, I can see a lot of the characters here, and you know, trying to take guesses what they actually do. You know, it's difficult for me to say one thing in particular I really liked.
All right, that's fine. Sheep, same question. What has been your most favorite part of the campaign thus far?
Honestly, I don't think I can, without giving it much thought, pinpoint a specific spot in the campaign so far.
Okay.
The thing is, I feel like we have been missing a kind of climax, one could say, because the fight against the Whispering Ravager would have been such a thing, but that backfired so horribly that I can't, with an honest face, say that was a good spot of the campaign. At least, you know, it was probably a very... I don't even know what I'm trying to say.
Like, you're imagining the anticipation of the alternative where you, like, reign supreme, crush the bandit leaders, and pick up whatever goodies and information they're in, and that ended up being a campaign loss.
It was such an anticlimax. It was... But so far, I'm definitely enjoying the campaign as a whole, and there were probably situations that I enjoyed more than others, but I don't have one specific thing I've enjoyed the most so far.
That's fine. Fine. Asthma Man, same question. What has been your most favorite part of the campaign thus far?
Let's see. Actually, probably in the first session when we got attacked by the wolf, and just Fargus just changed his mind totally about everything about druids, and just
within the first session.
Yep. Just that end fighter, he just became like totally switched his character, and yeah.
That's fine. Level 1, you know, the first few sessions, that's a great time. You know, the early levels are for character development. What is it? You do not increase your recovery value, no, Dark.
Okay.
So that was a great moment. Otherwise, I really enjoyed the conversations between Fargus and Dwohurim a lot. Just the him wanting to destroy nature totally, and Fargus wanting to preserve it and trying to persuade him that not everything's bad. And yeah.
If I were to explain it, it would be completely different.
Yep.
What our conversations have been about.
Yeah. I just liked the relationships those two characters have.
That's great.
It's very much a play through the icon relationships that directly influence the characters as well.
Alright, and Manaki, same question. What has been your most favorite part of the campaign thus far?
I like the feeling of lethality. It feels very much like we can actually lose in some way.
We proved that.
Yeah, I mean, but sort of also mean like in a campaign kind of sense, things can turn out badly if we're dumb.
Well, in that situation, the day beforehand, we pack up our bags. And...
I will say that your campaign loss meaningfully impacted this session.
I had a feeling, so
yeah.
I mean, that's certainly something I enjoy. It's more of, I guess, it's not really, it doesn't make me feel happy. it is engaging, I guess I would call it. It makes me feel more invested into this thing. That there's actually some sort of meaningful outcome. Beyond that, I have enjoyed the combats, the difficulty of them, especially the one bandit encounter where we kept falling down, where we should have lost, but prevailed sort of against the odds. That is always a great feeling, and a good moment. It was interesting in the Wild Wood to encounter Ajax already. Didn't expect that, and it kind of set the whole thing in stone. Certainly gave my character a drive very early on, something to go for. Some direct motivation injected directly into the bloodstream, which was interesting. I'm also enjoying the system a whole lot, trying something new and different. It's very sort of, actually very note-free to some degree. Not a whole lot of bookkeeping necessary, even for a wizard, which is just brilliant.
Indeed, I've noticed that as a player, like I have with so many other tabletops that I do on a computer, I create my own like little note system for each session, and I haven't done that as a player for 13th Age.
Not needed. Not really needed. Yeah. The icon relationships, I don't know that they have been like completely like heavily story impacted yet. Mostly they seem to just be like minor boons or complications, which is what I think they're supposed to be.
Yes.
But overall, I like the way that the icons play in, because that's basically what we're dealing with here. It's an icon conflict that we as sort of minions of that icon have some stake in.
Yes.
Because we agree with the philosophy of that certain.
I flavored your first campaign arc here, and if we go on after Foghaven, around the icons that you folks selected, so that all of you could have meaningful investiture from the start.
I've noticed that because I think I've accounted for every single one at this point of our icons.
Well, yeah.
I don't think there's a single one of our icons that hasn't been.
I'm pretty central to that whole thing. Oh, the guy I like is going to fight with the guy I don't like. All right.
The point is we have
exactly
Druid.
Do I stand here? Why do I
We
want
have
to stop
Druid.
this?
We have Druid, Undead. We have Priestess. We have Archmage. We had Dwarf King, technically, kind of.
Yeah, Dwarf King has been involved a bit. The Prince of Shadows has been the one who's been the least involved, but to be fair, the Prince of Shadows would be the one who's the least directly involved in a situation, and you wouldn't know his influence unless it fucking like bit you in the face. I've had ideas, but every time I have an idea that comes up, Gryph never ends up rolling for him. The one time he rolled for him was the second session where I didn't think he'd be there at the start, so I didn't think about it at all. So I didn't have any idea. I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
Like I can
The
ad-lib
thing is,
things.
it is actually a bit problematic that Gryph is so unreliably here. I mean, I guess he sort of found a way out of it, but it sometimes makes planning for things a little difficult. No, you sort of scale things, but still, it's you kind of want to have him there.
I was thinking that he'd only be absent for a quarter of the sessions.
Which is what I got told as well.
Yeah, like he had declared that, and he said that he would be here halfway in. I didn't expect. Bad things can happen to people all the time. I'll shoot him a message and see what had transpired.
Maybe he just forgot. He got home and just went to bed or something. That can happen.
Gryph doesn't strike me as the type that would just...
I doubt it. Yeah.
He might have had some apathy, but Gryph is respectable enough that he could have just slid on and said, hey, not doing it for me. He has a mobile device that can log on to Skype.
Well, I'm not saying he went to bed instead of playing. I think he just went to bed thinking that it was not Tuesday or something.
Perhaps.
That
theoretically possible.
does sound like him.
I don't know.
Or he just felt, I'm just gonna rest for a bit and then fell asleep.
Yeah, maybe.
There's any number of reliable things, but Gryph.
Well, I'm enjoying it very much.
My second question, and we'll start with Sheep here, since we started with Dark the first time. What has been your least favorite part of the campaign thus far, Sheep?
That is even more difficult. Well, I'm assuming least favorite not as in least favorite outcome of a thing, but rather least favorite from a player perspective.
Right. What have you enjoyed the least over the past 4 sessions? Like, you still might have liked it, but you could have been like, I could have gone without that. Like, I didn't need that. Or it might be a situation where you go, I don't even want that.
I don't know, I think the situation I've liked the least so far, or at least the situation I felt I had the least control over, was actually the assault on the mansion. Because whatever approach we came up with just seemed that it wouldn't work, and the approach we eventually went with seemed like it was the worst approach we could have taken, even though it seemed like it was also the only one that made any sense to us. Meaning that it felt very difficult to actually get like an overview over the situation, and there were practically no hints on how to approach it. Meaning that it just felt like we were completely just shoehorned into the direction of total defeat.
I can see that. Asthma Man, same question. What has been your least favorite part of the campaign?
Oh. I can't really think of anything other than what Sheep said. Trying to think of something else.
Alright.
I mean, I generally don't dislike things about RPGs unless it's like total bullshit. Unless you get like, on the railroad by the DM and just, you do this now. Fuck you. So, I mean, I enjoyed all of it, I think.
Okay.
But, it did seem like would be nice to have had some more options there on the mansion.
Alright. So what I'm hearing there is rather, although I did have a number of options in mind, it just felt overwhelming and there wasn't a better presentation of the things you could have done.
Yeah. I mean, we could have tried to find the secret entrance that was mentioned to us by the bandit, but by then they were already alerted. Yeah.
It would have been kind of like trying to fight an invisible ball somewhere in a giant room.
Yeah, a needle in
Maybe.
a haystack, basically.
We could still have tried.
I can understand the feeling. Manaki, same question.
I was going to say, like, for example, like, I don't remember all these. It's probably, like, many small things, really. But, like, for example, the talk with the little kid. Like, that might just be, like, a personal thing. But it's a lot of... it seemed like a very pointless, if you will, conversation. There didn't really seem to be any progression, story-wise or character-wise in it. However, of course, I when thinking deeper about it, I did notice that we ended up in the gallery and looked at a picture of Leon. So, of course, it served that purpose. But that was the only thing I really thought about in the time given here. Would be just that, I don't know, I like for things to move something along, I guess.
Sure. I considered that whenever I devised the short encounter, how the child with her questions could come across as time-wasting and useless rather than enjoyable in any form or fashion.
Mm-hmm. I chose to end it prematurely, I think. Which was my way of...
You played as I thought your character would in that case.
Yeah. Doesn't have time for this kind of thing.
And neither does Manaki.
Yeah. Well, it's more that I don't enjoy it very much.
Sure.
Of course, then again, it did serve a purpose. So
there was an intended purpose behind that. It was just...
Exactly. It was not just, like, stalling for no reason, which would be dumb. Yeah. My least favorite part was probably we get screwed over by the dice for that mob of people. I think we did well, but we just, like, it just... like apparently they were just so boneheaded that it didn't matter what we said. Which I mean, that's what happens sometimes in these games. You know?
Right, when you folks all
Roll the dice.
when you all roll single digits except for Griffin guy.
I mean, it always sucks when that happens.
You know, welcome to
there's
my
not really
world.
not really anything you can do about it. So,
all
I think
right.
I've rolled like 4 times in this campaign.
you all had that boss that got killed, like as a DM got killed to like the stupid sleep spell at like level 3. Just poof, sleep dead.
Well, there you go. Dark, same question.
I will say when it came to the child like going around the manor, like even before I got the little found the little portrait, I found it very amusing because one thing I liked is it kind of made it like this, it kind of made the world feel more alive to me. So I actually did quite enjoy it in that sense, which is the complete opposite of Manaki, which is quite interesting.
Sure.
What does that for me is more like
Yep.
for example, the inn has like a menu with local
See,
delicacies. That's good.
That did it, but the point is it shows characters alive as well.
That's right. Different players enjoy different aspects of a tabletop game. There's nothing wrong with that.
Being screwed over by the dice has definitely been some of these unfortunate things. Like, we all tried quite hard at that meeting in the town centre. Or in the previous 3 sessions, my lack of dice for icons. Also, poor Thomas. Actually, I kind of felt sad for Sheep getting crit so much.
Yeah,
I'm just doing my job.
Those archers,
Taking
the
damage.
archers had a fucking hot hand. Not just this session.
I will say, I have thought about this, and I may have to do something about that to help you.
I will say that the encounters that you folks faced were well balanced in that regard. And the last one was tipped to be a bit heavier, so that it would be a challenging fight to more effectively go through your resources. It wasn't quite the hardest balance I could have done, but you folks circumvented a possible combat situation anyway, and I wasn't going to force it in. So yes. So in that case, your least favorite is the dice, then.
Yeah, the dice have upset me the most. Actually, your DMing itself, I've enjoyed quite a lot.
All right. I asked these questions, and I've only gone through 2 of them thus far, to get a better handle of players' perceptions and for their likes and dislikes. While I don't need to do it so much for people that I've known and played games for decades, it helps me get a handle on people and just what they prefer and what they don't prefer. Like Manaki thinking the little girl was fucking useless, and I thought that was a proper interpretation of that. One thing like, why the fuck are you wasting my time? And whenever I designed that encounter lead into the art gallery, I thought someone might perceive this as a waste of time. It'll probably be Manaki.
I actually agree with Dark. I kind of like those things. Everything doesn't really have to have a purpose, and I think it's okay for the DM to sort of not intentionally mislead the player characters, but sort of everything doesn't really have to have a meaning, and the players might think that everything does, and therefore might lead them somewhere that doesn't really lead to the answer they wanted, but still leads to something.
My third question will begin with you, Asthma Man. Where do you see this campaign going from here?
Well, how exactly do you mean?
I suppose I would open that to interpretation. Like, we've gone through 4 sessions. How do you see the next 4 sessions developing from this point?
I was thinking if you mean like story-wise or...
Story-wise would work.
Oh, okay. Well, let's see. I would think that we have a slim chance of succeeding in stopping this conflict, but I don't think it will happen actually. I think we will fail in that, and there will be a war between the High Druid and the Emperor. And what comes of that, I don't know. But hopefully we find a way to stop it, but it seems to me like it's gonna happen.
Alright. Manaki, same question. Where do you see this campaign progressing from here?
I don't think there'll be a war. I don't think that's where we're going at all. I think we're going to stop it, or at least it's going to be a small scale conflict. We're most likely going to have to deal with the Druid. We're most likely going to have to deal with this lady as well, in some way. Figure out what's going on behind that. I still think we're kind of looking, trying to see the big sort of laying issue. I don't think we've actually found out what's actually going on here yet. Although we might be just sort of beginning to touch to lift up the veil. I think we're going to deal with things here to some degree, at least stabilize the situation somewhat, and then we're going to have to move on probably towards Newport, following some lead that takes us out of Foghaven to a greater, perhaps even some sort of conspiracy or something like that. What is driving this? What's behind it? What makes us have to deal with it? Well, we've been pretty good at just offering our aid for free for now. It's where we were going anyway, and well, there might be some sort of personal login. That could be really anything. But I think we're going to deal with things here in one way or another. The situation's going to be stabilized. I don't think it's going to be global war, and then I think we're going to move on towards Newport to uncover, well, more following some sort of thread of some grand conspiracy. That seems to be the way in which things can go.